fellow collectors, and welcome to Long's Toys. Today we are taking a look at Leader Class Ultra Magnus from the Transformers Shattered Glass line from Hasbro. Really love the packaging for Shattered Glass. I think the color scheme they have going here is really fantastic, and some really nice artwork here of Magnus in the upper right. The one thing I think is a little weird is how low he sits in the box. Of course, we have, this open window here because we've gotten rid of the plastic packaging. But if you're going to do it this way, why not shift the window down into the middle of the box or mount him higher up on that cardboard piece that they have in the back of the box there? I just think it's so weird to have all of this open space here and he's sitting so low. Not a big deal because I'm going to open him up anyway, but just kind of looks weird to me. Over here on the side of the box, we have some really nice artwork as well. Kind of a wider shot to get Magnus's whole body in there. Spinning around to this side, a little bit closer, full body shot there. Turning it around to the back, we have the robot mode, we have the vehicle mode, of course we have the robot and vehicle mode for the cab as well, and then we have that other head that they've included, so if you want this to kind of be Diaclone Magnus, I think it was called Powered Convoy, I want to say, in Diaclone, you can do that as well. I mean, the colors aren't perfect, that was kind of more of a darker blue and red, and we have kind of a purplish pink going on here, but close enough, and I think it's really cool that they included that head there, so that's pretty much it for the packaging. I'm going to go ahead and get him out of the box here, and we're going to take a closer look. Here is Shattered Glass Magnus out of the packaging, and he looks great. This is a really nice repaint of the Earthrise Ultra Magnus mold, just with a new head. And I know I said on the packaging that it looked a little bit more pink and purple, but in hand it really is a nice dark kind of navy blue and a nice red. So it does work as Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus, but also works as Diaclone Powered Convoy, sometimes called Delta Magnus. But yeah, it's really nice dual purpose here. If you're really crazy, buy two of them, have one for each head. It really works. So you can see here he's got a ton of accessories. He's got the giant gun that Magnus always came with, but then he's also packed with this sword weapon that came with Legacy Laser Prime. So if we go ahead and take this out of his hand, you can see this is kind of comprised of the two weapons. You can separate them. You have the sword, and then you have the axe. And then, of course, you can go ahead and put them together. There's not a great place to store these. You can kind of store them in vehicle mode, and I'll show that off. If you wanted to kind of collapse this up, you could. But these are legitimately just the weapons from Laser Prime, so they're just included here as extras. So we'll put that off to the side. He does, of course, have the two shoulder-mounted missiles. Now, they are painted in black, so they're a little bit more snug when pegging them in. You can still do it. I'm not going to peg them all the way in just because I really don't want them to get stuck. We'll go ahead and take one of these off here so you can see what I'm talking about. So you can see it's really painted in a nice black, but it does make them a little bit thicker. But overall, really nice. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of oomph to get them in there. This one, not so much, but this one definitely does. Let's go ahead and take a look at that head sculpt, since that's kind of the main draw of this guy. Really looking fantastic. The kind of skull face looks amazing, painted a very nice kind of gunmetal gray. You have a really nice blue there for the eyes, and just all of that molded detail looks fantastic. Now I'm going to spin him around. You can see that he does have light piping, but then they painted over the eyes, so kind of, rendering it null and void. But I'm okay with it because those eyes are really nicely done. And that's on a ball joint, so you can kind of look down, look up, turn side to side, no problem. Not so much for tilting side to side. And then later on in the video, I will pop it off and show you. But here is the Diaclone Magnus head. And it's really just popping the ball joint off and then popping this one on. It's a little difficult. I feel like this head pops on and off much easier than this one. So I'm probably not going to do it too many times. Probably when the video is done, I'm going to pop this one off and then leave this on. But very nicely painted. Some nice silver paint there for the face. You have some translucent lenses there for the eyes. And then some nice silver paint for the two stacks. Again, you have light piping there, but I don't believe that's going to shine through on these because I believe underneath the eyes are painted. They're almost kind of like 3D lenses over top of the silver painted face. But it's a very nice head. I think they did a great job with that. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look at the figure here. Oh, I'm sorry. There is one more accessory. He comes with a little matrix. Painted fully in silver over this kind of translucent red. There's nowhere to put it inside. I might be able to put it in the smaller robot's chest, and we'll take a look at that when I get there, but I've tried to open this up. There's nowhere to put this in Magnus's chest. So again, this is just kind of like another accessory included that you can have him use, but he can't, unfortunately, store it in the chest. But like I said, we'll check out the smaller robot, because that's kind of a giant cavity. So you might be able to just toss it in there. It's not probably going to fit in a very nice spot, but you could probably at least toss it in there. So articulation-wise, it's going to be exactly the same as Earthrise Magnus, because there's really nothing different in terms of the mold. It's really just a repaint with a new head. But I showed you the head articulation already. Of course, you do have the spin here in the shoulder. You have this out to the side here in the shoulder. You have a bicep swivel, 90 degrees there in the elbow. You do have a wrist swivel as well. You have kind of a very limited waist swivel because these pieces are kind of getting in the way of each other. So not much that can be done there. But you do have some really nice ratchets you can hear there in the hips. And of course you can kick out to the side. You have a thigh swivel there. 90 degrees there in the knee. And then he doesn't have ankle tilt. The ankle tilt's kind of built into the legs. So you just kind of put him in a wide stance and it just works out. But yeah, he looks really cool. I like him quite a bit. I'll show you how to pop the head off. So like I said, this one I feel like pops off pretty easily, and it's just a big ball joint right there. And then you bring in the other head, and this one's a little scary, but you just kind of push it down, and there you go. That snaps on, and now you have your Diaclone Powered Convoy, or Delta Magnus, whatever you'd like to call him. And I'm probably going to leave this head on for the rest of the video, because I'm probably going to leave this head on when I display him. And that's not to count out this head, and we can get a little bit closer look at this now that I've taken it off. Because it is a really cool head. I do really like it a lot. You can see the teeth molded in there a little bit closer up. It's a little lost because everything's kind of painted that gunmetal gray, but it's molded in there, and it does look really cool. And I like those eyes. So this is a very cool head. I do kind of like the Diaclone look more just personally, but they're both pretty great. So we'll go ahead, we'll start getting into transformation. We'll basically just take all the armor off so we can take a look at the robot underneath. So if you've transformed Siege or Earthrise Magnus, there really shouldn't be too many surprises here, but we'll go ahead and get started. So we're going to pop off this panel here. And unfortunately, mine doesn't really click in as much as I'd like it to. And again, I don't know if that's because this was painted. Let me go ahead and take this off so you can see what I mean. It almost kind of looks like this side of it was molded in the right color plastic, and then this side was molded in a different color plastic and then painted to match. Because you can see this is a little bit darker than over here, and I just don't really know why that was done. But when you go, you can see the paint chipping a little bit over here. So when you go to pop that in, it pegs in, but not as tight as I'd like when it's around the arm. But you go ahead and you take these off. So we'll do the same thing over here. And then put that off to the side. We can come to the chest, and this panel is going to lift up. And you can see that that just pegged into these two spots right here. And then we're going to lift this up. Actually, I should probably take the shoulder pads off first. So we're going to unhook this and then just slide these off. So pop that, slide that off. And then this whole section is going to lift up and detach. And it's a little easier said than done because it won't, there we go. So you can see it clicks onto this kind of stalk area here, which is used to transform the smaller cab. So we're going to just put that off to the side. And then we're going to just pop these off. They just slide onto the side here like this. So put all of these pieces off to the side. Of course, we will transform the trailer a little bit later on. But then we can flip out these heels like so. And then we're going to want to pop these off to the side so that we can open up the front of the cab here. I have to probably pop this down too. Then we can flip the head out. So as I was saying earlier, you could kind of toss the matrix in at this stage, but it's just a giant cavity. So if I just go ahead, where did I put it? You could just kind of pop it in here and then close this up. But it's just going to rattle around in there, so I'm not going to do that. But if you're looking for somewhere to store the matrix, technically you could do so. We're going to flip this waist piece around and then pop that back in there. And then we're going to slide this up onto his back and peg these back in. And I think this should, there we go. So that should click into place a little bit better. There we go. So here is the smaller quote-unquote Optimus Prime mode with just the cab transformed into the robot. I think it looks great. Really looks good in this color scheme. And I will say I love that head. I think that looks fantastic. Definitely getting evil vibes from that. It's a nice black head with those yellow eyes. Really, really looks good. Head can look down. Head can look up. Head can look side to side. You can rock a little bit side to side. You have a nice purple Autobot symbol there. I'm just really enjoying the blue and the black. It all looks really good. You have a swivel here. You have out to the side for the shoulder. You have a bicep swivel. 90 degrees there in the elbow. You do have a wrist swivel. You have a waist swivel now because that piece isn't in the way anymore. Pretty much the same ratchets, so really nothing new going on there because it's the same hips. You have that same swivel, same knees. He does have ankle tilt though, which is nice. Nothing front to back, but he does have it side to side, so that's really cool. So you can go ahead and give him the gun. Now, I wanted to give him just the smaller sword because I feel like that would scale really well with the size now, but unfortunately it has this tiny little nubbin right there, which prevents him from holding it in this mode. So that's really a shame because I feel like this gun is a little too oversized for this robot. But I felt like that sword would have kind of fit perfectly and would have been the right size. But unfortunately, he can't hold it. So if you want him to hold the sword, you are once again going to have to connect it to this giant thing, which I think looks kind of ridiculous, but it is what it is. And then you can peg that in there, and then he has to hold on to this giant, massive, ridiculous sword. That's really a shame. I feel like it would have been nice. Now, again, I understand they're just taking this from Laser Prime, and Laser Prime had opening hands, so you didn't have this issue. So that way you could go ahead and just kind of have him hold it with that part facing out. I don't really know what it's there for. I guess technically I could sand it down if I really wanted to. Maybe a project for another day, but I think he would look good in this mode with just this sword. I feel like that would be, you know, just kind of envision here like this, like that would be the proper size and that would work really well. So that might be something I look into a little bit later on. But I do really like the look of this robot mode. I love the yellow eyes. I think those really pop. So let's go ahead, let's get into transformation. Alright, so we are going to start by sliding this all the way down. We have to kind of pull this away. So that'll kind of unpeg. Then we can line this up. You got to make sure that's lined up there. The two pieces of the stalk there. And then slide that all the way down. At this point, we can kind of get the arms out of the way and spin him around 180 degrees. And then we're going to push this forward like so. So we can line up the front of the cab there. We're going to unhook the arms. We are going to pop this piece forward like so that we can swivel the head back in there like we had it for Magnus. And then pop that back in there like that. Make sure, I think I have to push this forward till I hear a click. Although it's not really clicking. I guess that's all the way in. We're going to bring the arms down like this and then rotate the fists down like that. And then this is just going to come around and peg in like so. And this part doesn't really peg in, but you can kind of see the, like, not quite a peg, but just that piece that hangs a little bit low, and you want to just kind of make sure that that's next to that, so that kind of keeps it in place. So bringing this up, rotating the fist down, bringing this in, and pegging that all in together like so. And then we're going to bring the legs up, and they do have kind of like a little tab right in there, which is going to kind of sit in that little area right there. So you want to make sure you don't just bring these straight up. You kind of have to go out a little bit and in, and then you can peg them together. And then you fold up the feet. And there you go. You are transformed. into the cab, which has a lot of robot parts just hanging out the back. But that's okay, because we're going to add a trailer to this. So we have our Magnus armor pieces here. We're going to take the 2 smokestacks from the arms and fold these pieces straight down so that we can go ahead and connect these together like so. And we'll put that off to the side for the moment. We will take this section here. We will go ahead and press on this kind of dark gray section to flip that around. This is going to flip up like this. We're going to take these 2 forearm pieces, and they are going to peg onto here. Like so. And again, if you've transformed Earthrise Magnus, this is really not any kind of a surprise. But so we have that. We take our legs. We're going to unhook this section here from the back, and that will allow this to come over to the side and accordion all the way out like so. So we are going to repeat that with the other leg. Flip this out, and then that will all fold all these panels out like so. Then we're going to take this section and kind of feed this in. So if we feed it in like this. So you can see that there are these 2 tabs, well actually 3 tabs over here and here and here, and they are going to tab into there, and then this channel here. So this is going to feed in like this, and then we will close the other one around, pegging that all in and snapping the 2 legs together like so. Then we are going to start to bring this in, and there are some spots where these line up. So this tab will go into right there, and this will kind of fit in this little channel right here. So this comes in, and that snaps in, and this has to line up. There we go. That feeds into that channel. This pegs in like so. You want to leave this section out to the side. This is going to come in and do the same over here on this side. So you want to kind of feed this into the channel, and then that will all snap into place. So there you go. We have the makings of our trailer here. We're going to kind of fold this up. We're going to bring the cab back in. We are going to take these 2 sections and pop them onto that little bar that connects the 2 feet. Like so. And then we're going to come around back to this, and we are able to take these connectors here and peg them in on here, and then there is a tab right there which is going to tab in right there. So we're going to line those up. This one can be right here, can be a little difficult to connect. Sometimes you need a little extra oomph. Is that fully connected? Usually it clicks. There we go. Okay, so we have that, and then we just bring this down, and that will connect on to the sides there. So here we go. We have Ultra Magnus, Shattered Glass Ultra Magnus, Delta Magnus, Powered Convoy, whatever you'd like to call him, in vehicle mode. And he works, rolls pretty well, kind of just a massive rectangle with wheels, but I love it. We can bring some of the accessories back in to kind of give him some detail here. So the directions tell you to peg these in all the way at the back here, but I kind of like to peg them up here because I feel like that's more reminiscent of how G1 Magnus had these mounted. I think they pegged into the cab actually, or maybe it was the very front of the trailer. I like to put them a little bit farther forward. We have the gun here. This I believe can peg in right here. And then you have this big sword piece. Now earlier I said there was absolutely nowhere to put this. Technically I was kind of wrong. You have this tiny peg here on this axe, and you can go ahead, because there's a kind of the larger like circle, which to me was meant more for the light piping, but you can go ahead and pop that on there. So it can technically store there. I think Laser Prime can do that as well. Again, I don't get it, but there you go. That's where it goes. They want you to put this down at a 90-degree angle, and then I think they want you to feed this through here. which is a little easier said than done. Now, they might even have just said, the directions are a little ambiguous. They might have even just said, just let it sit there like that. You could technically just feed it through any of these empty spaces and it will just kind of lay there. Or I guess you could technically try to peg it in there. But I'll be honest, it's kind of a thinner piece of plastic and it's a little tight and I really don't feel like stressing that out. So I'm just going to kind of sit it there. Again, it wasn't meant to come with this mold, so just kind of find somewhere to put it. Honestly, I like the look of it just taking both of these off and just putting them off to the side. I like kind of the more classic with just the missiles. And I think that works really well. You can see in that in the vehicle mode, he is mostly blue. Most of the red is kind of hidden inside. You get it a little bit here on the roof. But he is mostly blue. But you have some really nice translucent red plastic there for the windows of the cab, which I think looks really nice. You could definitely probably put, well, I've done it before. I don't think I have anyone. Ah, here we go. Who do I have handy? We have Jackpot. So you can definitely put some cars up there. I think you could fit 2. It might be a little tight, but I think you could fit 2 up top there so he can fulfill his car carrier duties. But yeah, overall, I think this looks really good. I think this figure turned out great. I really don't have too much negative to say about it. The color scheme absolutely works, and the fun thing about it is it's kind of 2 figures in one. So the color scheme works with this head as Shattered Glass Magnus, and this head sculpt looks phenomenal. I wish they had done maybe a little bit of a black wash or something around the mouth to kind of really, you know, bring out all the detail in the skull teeth and things like that. I understand it's very small, so probably hard to do. But it's all the details molded in there. It's just a little hard to see. But the eyes look fantastic. And the kind of bat ears really look good as well. But then, of course, we have that second head, kind of a more classic Magnus head. So you can go ahead and have this be, you know, Diaclone-powered Convoy or Delta Magnus, whatever you'd like to call them. And I think that's really great. Honestly, I'm kind of considering if there would be a sale or maybe a clearance or something, picking up a second one of these so I can have it as both on the shelf, because I think it works really well as both characters. So definitely going to want to pick this one up. The one, if I had to nitpick one thing, I mean, I don't love this accessory. I didn't love it with Laser Prime, but you don't have to use it. I mean, it's in the box. It's extra. If you want to just put that off to the side and just have him use the giant cannon we're used to getting with Magnus, totally a viable option. So, like I said, there's really not much to complain about this guy. The heads are easy enough to swap on and off. I hope over time they don't get too loose, but it is just a simple ball joint. I was afraid I was going to have to like unscrew something, but no, totally fine. Just pop it on and off. 2 figures in one. This guy's fantastic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks so much for watching.